Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your storyteller for tonight. My name is Will, and tonight we have a special introduction to Kuni Seizo for our Legend of the Five Rings game called Bone, Blade, Bone, Blood, Bone, and Blade. There's a lot of B's, and I'm tired, and so I can't get everything correct. And there's a bunch of B's in this introduction for our newest player and our last cast member to join us. He was a Boy Scout. He is a fan of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files. He is a sci-fi aficionado. He is my personal representative for Captain America in our friend group, and he's an all-around nice guy to know. Everybody, please welcome James to the show. Hello, James. Welcome to the stream.
Thank you. How are you doing? That was
Good.
a great.
Yeah, you like it? I hope I did you
Yeah.
proud. I tried to figure out how to work in that you would never use a hard R in conversation, but I was like, I'll let you handle that.
No, never.
There are certain rules that we have to abide by.
Yes. Yeah. But no, that was great, and I'm very much so looking forward to playing probably my favorite RPG.
Yeah, you like L5R?
Yes, I would say it's my favorite out of. I wish I could play it more often.
Okay.
So out of D and everything else, White Wolf, everything I've ever played, this is definitely my favorite setting and system.
Okay. Do you have anything you wanna kind of give away for Kuni Seizo before we dive in, or do you think you want to save all of that for game?
Uh, he's just a bit young, unassuming. Kind of not where the rest of his family thinks he should be in terms of success at this time of his life. So, he's hoping to eventually prove them wrong.
Mm, lofty goals.
So,
I like it.
yeah.
I like it. All right. So you're playing a crab character that's going to be
Yep.
rounding out the crew that consists of a dragon samurai from the Minamoto school, uh, favoring the Niten style, uh, sitting in the same group as a doji from the Kakita school of one strike, one kill, which favors Iaido more. Um, how do you think that you're going to bridge these schools, or are you even going to help to bridge these schools?
I'm obviously going to bring them down to earth from their lofty high places and show them the real world.
Okay. I think that's gonna be a necessary thing to do.
You know,
Uh,
the crabs were born with golden chop. I mean, the crane were born with golden chopsticks.
yeah, yeah, of
You
course.
know,
Uh,
and the dragon are too busy pondering the universe.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's real problems right now we got to solve, guys.
There are, and I think your character has seen a real side of Rokugan that they haven't. Uh, so much so that we are opening up in the village of Shiromori Sato.
Okay.
It is a small village that is known for its uh, sparse veins of silver in the mountains and its lake fishing. Um, it is in disputed territory between the dragon, the phoenix, and the scorpion clan. Um, the lion clan would have touched a little bit of Shiromori Sato's territory, but they're just too far away.
Okay.
You have been chasing a member of a secret kind of cult, somebody that works for an entity that has called themselves Koganeru no Yakusoku, which translates into the Golden Promise. Um, it
Okay.
is one of the few threads that has been a constant thorn in Seizo's life. Uh,
Okay.
And as you kind of come to this morning, there's a soft rain that hits the thatched roof that you're sleeping under, uh, in this peasant's kind of barn. There are some animals that you can hear rustling about underneath you on the floor below you. And as the smell of rain and animal and wet animal fur kind of starts to waft up to you, you're transported back to a couple of months after your Genpuku ceremony. This memory just kind of crashes against your waking mind as you've been trying to figure out how and where and why this entity is still so far ahead of you as far as the chess moves that you guys are kind of throwing against each other are concerned. And you think back to excuse me, a Jade agent that had requested specifically your teacher Kuni Sango and your presence as kind of Yojimbo's, as he kind of was the first taste of who Kogoneru no Yakusoku is to you. And that is Hida Orujiro. He is a member of the Hida family that has been gifted with the ability to speak to Earth Kami, and so has become a kind of agent of some renown, so much so that he's become a Jade agent for the Jade Champion.
Okay.
And so traveling with him, this fresh out of just kind of having been given your daisho, is kind of otherworldly to you.
Yeah.
This is not something that you would have expected, and it still kind of carries this heavy weight, even when waking up in the morning and going through your kind of routine. You still kind of have these lingering looks in his direction. Hida Orujiro is an older, kind of stocky, typical crab. He's got the brown kind of well tanned skin of traveling. He has these kind of bushy, peppered eyebrows that just kind of like shoot out in every direction, perched above his eyes. Very gentle, kind of burnt honey eyes set in a juxtaposition of these kind of dark holes of exhaustion that kind of linger in the sockets of his face. A very squat, kind of flattened nose that looks like it's seen its fair share of barroom brawls.
Okay.
A very thin, kind of wispy mustache that is more white than black, and then this shotgun blast of gray hairs that have infiltrated his once prominently black beard. It is weird to you because his beard is kind of well kept. It's not long and wild like his eyebrows, but his eyebrows are just these kind of, this wild forest of hair that sticks out from his brow line.
Okay.
From the bit that you've seen of him kind of undressing and things like that, he is scarred heavily. There looks like there's been chunks of flesh and muscle that have kind of been removed. And if he's caught you staring, he will say that though that was the sacrifice that has been made for him in his younger years, and underestimating the taint.
Wow. Right. I know those. I know that pain well.
Yeah. But you notice that he does kind of hold a very dear, to to him, in the small bit of traveling that you've done, he holds a very dear kind of jade pendant around his neck, that has these kind of little ivory trinkets, these little orbs that have been kind of added to his leather thong that wraps it around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Never talks about it, but he always kind of like holds it close to him, for his prayers, and whenever he is deep in thought, he kind of will hold on to it or bring it up and kind of gnaw on the orbs themselves or the thong of leather in contemplation.
Okay.
Sango, by direct opposite of him, is just, a tempered kind of rambunctiousness. Like, she is all about moving forward
Mm-hmm.
and trying to get to where she needs to go. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also kind of very even keeled about what she does and how she says things, especially to him. To you, she's very casual. It's since you've been given your daisho, it's become less of her being your senpai to her kind of being just an older person in your circle.
Yeah.
You can still address her with the honorific. She hasn't told you not to.
Yeah.
But you notice that she's no longer using like kun or chan whenever she's talking to you, like she does. She has kind of graduated to san.
Okay. I definitely will still give her that respect because I certainly look up to her a lot.
Okay. Okay.
You know. Yeah.
But we find your memory takes you back, to another rainy morning.
Mm-hmm.
You are not in the luxury of having had a peasant's house or barn to sleep in. There is a tarp kind of stretched out over the three of you. It is him to one side, you in the middle, and then Sango to the opposite side of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that you're the first one to wake up. And
Okay.
the pitter patter of rain is soft against the tarp that you've laid out. The the pools of rainwater on either corner that you look out to is not very deep, so it hasn't been raining long.
Mm-hmm.
But you do feel like winter is going to be especially cold this year.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, we're deep in Crablands where it stays a bit warmer.
Yeah, yeah. Currently,
Has it been
you're
raining a
on
lot?
the yeah yeah. It has.
Like every day?
It's been a
So it's
wet
grown wearisome.
yeah. It's been a wet kind of fall.
Okay.
And you're currently in the northern track
Okay.
of
Yeah.
Crablands. You're skirting into the contested territory, between you and the Scorpion.
Okay.
But this is where the trail is leading, and you have it under good authority that should any kind of scouts stop you, that you are in the presence of a Jade agent,
Okay.
and you should have free reign. Um, but then again, he also has brought up the fact that you're dealing with Scorpion, so
Yeah. One can never be too careful.
yeah. Sometimes Koku might be needed to grease the wheels. He's mentioned.
Okay.
Um,
Keep that in mind.
yeah. Some Scorpion value Koku more than honor is the adage that he has kind of repeated. The further away you get from the crab kind of castles,
Okay.
and the path takes you more north. But you're the first one awake. What do you want to do with your morning?
So I'm probably gonna head out of the tarp a bit.
Hmm.
You know, kind of give myself a bit of a wash. You know, catch some water in my hands, splash it my face. You know,
Yep.
uh, go about try to go about my morning, uh, a bit of my morning cleanliness routine. You know, taking care of your hair and obviously since we're traveling, I won't be worrying about putting on the whole witch hunter garb.
Right. Right.
Um,
Is that something that
you know,
you would openly have around this Hida?
well, if if Sango has it, then for sure I would.
Okay.
Um, but normally we don't get all gowned up in times of danger in terms of like where time is of presence or there's always danger around or you're traveling.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm kind of just gonna stretch my legs a bit. I don't want to disturb them,
Okay.
and just if I can, if there's like some cover, maybe walk through like some trees or bamboo. You know, just kind of stretch my legs a bit and just you know probably feeling a bit angsty. So just kind of walk around, explore a bit, just
Yeah,
kind of keep my mind busy.
I get you.
Yeah.
Uh, let's go ahead and have you make the first roll of the night then,
Okay.
and let's have you do an investigation check. Uh, remember that you are trained for this, so you're gonna hit the
Middle
middle
what?
of the three.
All right.
27. Very nice.
Oh, I got a 14 in there. Lucky me.
Yeah, exploded. Um, so as you're kind of stretching your legs, keeping an eye on the perimeter of this campsite of yours, you notice that there's a kind of scent that hits you, uh, and if not for kind of walking around, it wouldn't have wafted over to the campsite because of the rain. Um,
Okay.
but you notice that there is a small, uh, kind of young doe that looks like it's had its chest cavity blown out from the inside out.
Well,
No,
that's not great.
no, no. Uh,
Uh,
there's not a lot of blood for the wound, um,
okay.
and that kind of raises the hairs on the back of your neck slightly.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to touch that because that's pretty gross. Uh,
Yeah. Where's some Etta when you
Hey.
need them, right?
yeah. Yeah. Um, I am gonna. First thing I'm gonna do
Mhm.
is kind of like, is it in a clearing? Is it tossed under something?
It is.
Uh,
The clearing has ended maybe about 10 to 15 meters behind you.
okay.
Um, so it's underbrush. There's a tree nearby, but this is kind of overgrown. The bushes and the tall grass have kind of claimed this area.
Okay.
Um, there does appear to be some spots where the grass is kind of bent and broken, but you're not sure if that's because of the deer or because of the rain.
Okay.
You could make another investigation check if you so desire.
Yeah. I'm actually, yeah. So I am. I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm gonna like, kind of like look around, maybe up towards the trees and everything, see if there's maybe an animal that's, because I don't want to approach and get attacked by a bear or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe I don't think a bear could do this, but at the same time, I
Right.
don't
Right.
want to be like a wolf's lunch. So
Right.
I'm gonna kind of give
As,
it a quick, once over, make sure there's like no hawks or something, or
as
uh, and then so let's roll another investigation.
as much as I would love to throw uh, bears from the trees down at you, holy fuck! 47.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
One of your dice exploded twice.
Like,
Yeah,
I just,
as much as I would love to throw flying bears at you from the trees, I think that we're gonna skip that entirely. And with a roll that high, you notice that the grass leading towards where this deer has kind of slumped down and died
okay.
has been made to look like it was the animal itself, but
Hmm.
the depressions are just a little too large, a crescent for the hoof of this deer.
Okay.
um, and and there's also a great pain has been taken to try and retrace the steps that brought the deer to its current spot.
Hmm. That's strange.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna. Can I make a lore Shadowlands roll?
Sure. What are you trying to ascertain from that roll?
Just maybe if this is like this kind of. Is this something that like kind of like a demon spawn would do, like kind of burst forth
Hmm.
from like a doe, or is it like maybe something reached in and then pried the chest plate out? Maybe that's why it looks like it. Like because obviously since I've noticed that it tried to cover its tracks, I'm thinking this is something with some intelligence, and obviously an animal would have eaten. I'm assuming the animal would have eaten this carcass if they had killed it. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming there's some foul play here now.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah. Go ahead and make a roll.
then we're so
26.
okay.
Um.
I'm rolling pretty good tonight.
Yeah.
When it counts, it's going to be bad. When I get into combat,
It's
it's gonna be
probably gonna be terrible. So, as you are kind of retracing the memories of all of these different possible creatures that
Mhm.
might share an origin in some fashion of choosing to burst out of people's chests or animals' chests, for that matter, anything's
Mhm.
chest. There are some Shadowlands creatures that have that as an MO of kind of like choosing to destroy as much of the carcass that kind of incubated them.
Oh, great.
But those are creatures that tend to grow larger, that tend to incubate to a point where they've become almost the same size as whatever their host was. And this doesn't look like that.
Okay. So I don't get the feeling of like the Shadowlands from this thing.
No, no.
Okay. All right.
There is a bit of black veins that have started to kind of creep out from where the wound is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can assume that there was some Shadowlands taint at play.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Maho. So, right? It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Maho.
but at this point, when I realize I see the black veins, I'm gonna take another quick look around, just like that quick like behind me, make
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
like I'm not being snuck up on at that moment. And I am gonna make my way back to the camp, and I'm gonna try to sort of mark my way along the path. I don't know if I'm gonna get lost, how difficult it
No,
is.
it's not. It's not difficult at all.
Okay.
Like once you take a few steps back towards the clearing, you can clearly see the camp.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that kind of excuse me, that sticks in the back of your head as if someone was this close to see the camp, why
Yeah.
didn't you hear them?
Yeah.
And why didn't
Yeah.
they do anything to you?
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna make my way back
Yeah.
to the camp and start and rouse
You see
the
that
others.
the Hida is already kind of up and going through the same routine of just like washing his face, taking some of
Hmm.
that rainwater, and the rain has kind of slowed at this point to just kind of gentle
Hmm.
drops here and there.
Hmm.
Uh, but you do notice that as he sees you kind of coming, he bows a courteous bow to you for the morning, and you see him kind of reach into his pack and pull out a small brick of granola, and he kind of offers you. He motions to kind of offer you half of it if you want it.
Oh, thank you. I kind of lost a little bit of my appetite right now.
Mm,
There's kind of something down the path I think you should see.
okay, show me. And you see him just kind of take a bite of the granola and then kind of stuff it back in his backpack. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, he kind of leaves everything where it is. He just kind of has his open kimono. Uh,
Hmm.
he hasn't put his wakizashi on his belt, but he does kind of have a couple of scrolls in a case in like a little scroll tube that he
Hmm.
does kind of reach down and pick up. Um, you know that he has 4 such scroll tubes,
Okay.
uh, and it each one has a elemental motif to them. Um, one is kind of a very dirty kind of copper color, which is the one that he's taking with him, and the others are more like in tune with whatever element he has a need for. So one appears to be like a little bit of a dirty ivory, which is his air one. One
Okay.
appears to be like a very somber deep blue, which is for water, and then he has a very kind of flamboyant red and orange one that's for fire.
Cool.
No,
Is Sango awake?
no, no, she's still sleeping.
I'm gonna wake her.
Okay.
Yeah, and just kind of I want to give her a heads up.
You bend down and you kind of shake her a little bit to wake her,
Yeah.
and she is still breathing softly, eyes closed.
Is that normal for her?
No, no, she is very much a light sleeper.
Hmm. I kind of give her like a bit more of a shake,
Y-
like, and kind of, hey, Sango,
yeah, as you
Sango-san.
kind of shake her a bit and she falls over onto her back from her side, you notice that there is a thread of red that kind of extends out from her left side ear into out of the clearing and into the forest in the distance, away from the deer itself.
Oh,
There's like a little spider web of red veins that kind of have exploded out from her ear and are kind of pulsing, but the thread kind of just elongates itself out into the forest.
I, Hida-san.
He
Then,
he
like, I
stops.
quickly,
Yeah, he stops heading in the direction of the deer that you were going to show him, and he comes back.
yeah, and I immediately make sure I move her hair out of the way, make
Yeah,
sure that he has a clear, and I tried not to disturb
yeah,
uh, that red thread at all costs.
yeah. No, he comes over. He sees it, and under his breath, you just barely, because you've made such great perception rolls so far, you just barely hear him say the word maho. Um, and you see he kind of motions for your
Hmm.
blades, um,
Yeah,
and
grab him.
he grabs his wakizashi, puts it on his belt, and then you see him um, take the the water and the fire's tubes with him, and he kind of attaches those to his belt as well. Um, he's like, I'll need you to stay with her. I will follow this to its source. What was it that you saw in the forest?
There's dough that looks like something burst from it, like its chest cavity is pointing outwards.
Hmm.
And they noticed that whatever put it there tried to hide its tracks, make it look like the dough somehow got there itself, and then use those same tracks to get back. But if you'll notice, the tracks are a bit too large for what a dough that size should be.
A distraction, do you think?
Yes.
You might just have saved me from whatever has happened to your teacher. I appreciate that, Kuni-san.
Can we save her?
Let us hope that we can. And let us hope that the spirits are with me. And with that, he darts following this red thread. And as he does, the trees around the clearing kind of start to shake slightly. You notice that the rain begins to almost slow impossibly, to the point where if you pay attention to it, it almost looks supernatural. The drops are so slow they appear fake to you.
I'm gonna grab like a pebble or something that's on the floor and just kind of toss it out into the rain.
Okay. It pops a couple of the droplets of rain, and as it does, you can see what looks to be almost a shimmer of spiderweb.
We're in a trap.
Yep.
I'm gonna attempt to cover like Sango. I'm gonna like as I quickly because obviously she's out for the count.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use like my Tamori mat, kind of try to cover her just in case something comes through. She'll be somewhat protected from damage.
Okay.
And at that point, once I feel like I've done enough of trying to pad her, protect her from damage, I'm gonna kind of just keep trying to. I'm gonna just look for danger at all.
Okay.
Like just see if I can find what's causing this.
As you kind of take a defensive stand over your teacher, you notice that there is a kind of shimmer to the clearing above you, almost as if it was entirely encased in a spider's web. It's very faint, and if it wasn't for the rain kind of refracting the sunlight, you wouldn't see it. But as the rain kind of hits it, there's a moment where it kind of collects like dew, and as it gets fat, that's when it kind of it pops, and each drop is then kind of suspended by threads of spiderweb, like little spiders coming down from a master web.
Does it look like I could find a way out of it? Does it look like I'm completely encased?
It looks like the web extends from one side of the clearing to the other. There's two master threads that extend outward in an X shape. Very acute angles, but
Okay.
but they are kind of the X and Y of this kind of canopy covering.
Okay. Are the trees thick in this part? Like I'm not gonna be like slicing through it without like an axe or something. I assume.
In the clearing, there's a very few trees, and the ones that are there are thin enough that a couple of good swipes will cut through it. but strong enough and thick enough to kind of hold a tarp type of tent for several people if need be. The clearing itself is free of underbrush and bushes.
Okay.
It's mostly just like a collection of trees here and there, some logs that have been turned into like communal sitting areas, and what looks to be a couple of rock circles, including the one that were near you, where you kind of know people have had campfires.
Is there anything sort of like, let's say, sort of large, maybe not crazy big? I need to be able to throw it, so I'm just looking for something that's like, water bottle size, sort of like a piece of branch or maybe a stone, but something that's a bit longer than like just a round pebble. So I'm gonna try to throw it and hit one of the webs and see what happens.
Okay. It's easy enough to find some branches to fit your description.
Okay.
You can clean them off and kind of create these kind of like tiny javelins.
Yeah, I just want to like, chuck
Yeah.
it, see if I can hit. I'm just trying to hit a web to see if
Yeah.
what happens, if it draws anything's attention or if it just gets stuck, bounces off. Like, what happens?
Yeah. As it hits the web, surely enough. I mean, you. Looking at your character, you're. Oh, your agility is a 2. I thought it was a 3.
No.
Yeah. So then let's have you.
That's gonna whiff so bad.
let's have you make an athletics check.
Did I have no points enough? I didn't. You talked me out of putting points into athletics.
Oh no! How terrible I am.
Yes, you are.
Actually, no. Let's go.
You want it to be.
Let's go with spears.
You want it to be agility right now, right? Spears.
Yeah, let's go with spears. Because I thought that athletics
Spears
is based off of strength. I think spears would be better. $12 is not terrible.
It's better than what I should have rolled.
Yeah.
I thought average.
Yeah.
Close to average. 2 cube 2.
But sure, you grab one, and by a very wild coincidence of just a gust coming at the proper time, you see this branch kind of wobble as it flies, but it does hit a web. There was a moment where you kind of were like, "Oh, I completely whiffed this. This is garbage. I'm a disgrace to branch throwers everywhere."
It's a good thing my teacher's sleeping.
Yeah. She would have held on to this for a few months. But sure enough, the breeze kind of comes in, and you do manage to hit one of the lower hanging threads.
Okay.
And as it hits, you see it dangle there, kind of like shoes on a power line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear rustling coming from the direction of the deer carcass.
Oh. I made a movie.
I seem to have made a mistake.
Yeah, just a little bit there.
Yeah.
I will get defensive and kind of crouch and try to hide under our tarp and just look.
Okay. As the sinking feeling in your stomach kind of crashes to the bottom of your internal ocean, you see that the bushes have not stopped shaking since the web has been disturbed, and it looks like something is approaching. And as your hand instinctively goes down to the handle of your katana, immediately from the bushes and the tree line where the tall grass starts, the deer carcass slithers out, almost like it's using its shattered ribs to crawl like a millipede towards you. Oh, this is not where I parked my horse.
This is obviously Scorpion territory. They can handle their own
Yeah,
problem.
this is theirs. This is theirs, completely theirs,
No.
not ours.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
yeah, and you just hear this terrible clicking noise as the jaw is being dragged behind uh, the face that's shooting forward, and every time that the the jaw kind of reaches its full pull on the muscles, it kind of snaps back, and you hear that clack of the teeth kind of crashing against each other, and it's just a horrific sound that kind of sets this tempo against this kind of rushing carcass of a body. It's four like legs stretched back, almost like a very Cthulhu-esque Naruto run, as it's very clearly its ribs are now acting as its kind of legs, and it is just this blur of a machine of kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These legs kind of just like dig in and push forward, and then there's again that impulse of where the body kind of shoots up and forward, and then it digs in and kind of counts again all over again, and then there's a clack of the teeth hitting. It is rushing towards you. What would you like to do?
So I'm going to draw my weapon
Mhm.
and stand in between it and my teacher there.
All right. Which stance are you going to adopt?
Defensive.
Okay. So you see it rush forward, and it stops about 10 feet away from you.
Okay.
And as it does, you see its hind legs start to curl in underneath it, and it pushes itself up onto what would be its knees, and it kind of is sitting back almost like a monk in prayer, but it's this horrible visage of this very open cavity. Its entrails are drooped all over itself, covered in dirt and branches and rocks that it's brought with it as it dragged itself over. Its front legs are kind of splayed out to either side of it in a very mocking kind of open gesture.
Okay.
And its head is just lulled to one side, and there is this very grim, not intelligence, but something else is using its eye to see you. And like the one eye on the side of its face that is looking your direction is intently looking in your direction.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna stay in full defense stance, trying to gauge what this thing is doing and what it wants.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering why it didn't. Because basically, I'm wondering why it didn't try to attack me in the clearing when I saw it.
Yeah.
So I'm cautious as to what is happening right now.
Okay.
But definitely weapon drawn and
yeah,
very defensive.
as you stand across from it and you make no motion to lunge towards it, it slithers using its two knees. It kind of rubs them back and forth to slither a little bit closer to you, just maybe like a foot and a half, and as it does, it lulls its head to its other side, and now its left eye kind of takes a real deep notice of you. And then you see it kind of sit back on its haunches completely, and it just kind of sits there and starts to drool this kind of vacant look at you.
Does it look like it has those threads coming out of it,
Let,
like my teacher does, like Sango?
let's have you make a perception check.
Just raw perception.
No, the investigation. Sorry.
Okay. Oops, I hit the wrong button there. That was Shadowlands. So, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I know this is Shadowlands, so it's fine. Just ignore that roll.
I mean, it might be. It might be. It's a good thing that you rolled, though, because it is Shadowlands. You rolled a 33 for your Shadowlands lore. So, yeah, there's definitive...
I knew that. Didn't even roll. I'm pretty sure an untrained peasant knew that.
Yeah. I like that you rolled 4 keep 3 for your Shadowlands lore, and you got 33. But you rolled 6 keep 3 for your investigation, and you got 33.
I'm consistent. I'm nothing if not consistent.
Yeah. There's no red threads coming out of the deer itself,
Okay.
but you do notice that there are some silvery kind of very translucent threads that are kind of coming to its joints, like its shoulders, the tips of its hooves, and like the head itself, the back of the neck.
Okay.
It's almost like they were trying to set up a marionette, but didn't
Yeah.
hit the proper joints.
Okay.
And as you kind of start to trace them with your eye, and your head kind of tilts up a little bit, the head splays forward, and both eyes now very, very gruesomely, you see them both almost with a heavy slop of a sound. You see them both kind of pop out of their sockets to look at you. Because deer don't have binocular vision, so it's forcing these eyes to kind of look at you. And as it does, you hear a very soft kind of clunk sound as it brings its front hooves together in a mock clap. It's just like clunk, 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 clunk.
Okay.
But there is a very definitive air of something that just is toying with you.
Yeah. I got that. And I don't want to take my eyes off this thing. I definitely, while trying to maintain eye contact, like making sure that thing is there,
Yeah.
not moving, I'm gonna attempt to see if I could, like, the strings just go up into the
Into the
sky,
web itself,
right? Like
yeah.
to the top of the foot. Yeah.
To the web itself.
I want to, like, I'm gonna take quick, like, darting glances just to make sure nothing is coming out of my periphery.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly look and see
Okay.
what's happening.
You can see that there are shadows that are attempting to move closer from the tree lines.
Okay.
There's something else out there. There's maybe with the quick glances that you got like you counted 3 different shadows, 2 from your left where the Hida went, and 1 from the right where the carcass was.
This isn't good. They're like, you definitely have the feeling they're just toying with me until they can spring their trap.
Yeah.
So at least the Hida got out. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
That's a good guess.
Well, hopefully, I'm hoping that he got out before I, before all this happened.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to be the instigator here. I'm gonna attempt to, like, back away from, in terms of, like, I'm gonna not, like, directly back away, just kind of, like, not straight backwards. I want to kind of circle this deer carcass, just so I can keep it in my view, but also sort of turn to where I saw one of the other shadows, so I can see if I can see what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you start to make your move, and you see that the carcass kind of keeps its head lulled in whatever direction you're trying to move to.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a screeching noise that fills the clearing, and then you smell burning. Um, and as you do, the entire clearing suddenly glows red, orange, and yellow, and you can see the entire web is ignited in fire.
I'm going to take this opportunity
Mhm.
to attempt to lunge forward and like basically switch to attack stance
Oh,
and cut the strings that are holding this carcass up.
okay. Go ahead and make your Kenjutsu roll.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Not
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 terrible.
bad.
Not terrible. You lunge forward, and your sword hits. You can feel it hit something, and as it cuts through these threads, you can feel the pull of your sword on these threads pull the carcass in that same direction of your crescent, and as you kind of uh, see it splayed out on the floor once more, its eyes now completely having come out of its body, and its form kind of uh, starting to look like it used to when you first saw it, just kind of like this dead carcass.
Yeah.
Uh, you notice that there's a nick on your blade where you hit these threads now. Uh,
Holy cow.
yeah, it is. It is not a deep nick, but it is something that is visible uh, almost
Okay.
immediately. Um, and as you kind of start to get a lay of the land, and you start to see the shadows kind of retreating at the side of this blazing inferno above you, uh, you can hear Sango rousing, kind of coming to, uh, and you see the Hida step out from where the shadows were,
Okay.
and he has this woman's head, uh, kind of in one hand, very much like Pericles and Medusa,
Okay.
um, and he holds it up to you in a very kind of trophy manner, uh, and then he kind of throws it forward, and as he does, you see him uh, tap the scroll case that is orange and red and yellow colored, and
Hmm.
the head, the moment it kind of hits the ground and begins its upward rise from a bounce, it just ignites entirely. Um, and as it does, the three shadows just completely fade away. The smell of burning that was near you is from the thread that had attached itself to Sango being burnt away, and
Hmm.
uh, now her having a bit of burnt flesh and a kind of star pattern around her ear. Um, so some of her hair, there'll be little lumps, little clumps of no hair on the left hand side of her face from now
Hmm.
on. Um, but she is alive, and she is a little worse for wear, but uh, she kind of like looks around and has a very quizzical look. The Hida comes over.
Yeah, I rush to check on her once the shadows disappear.
Yeah, yeah. She's alive. She's breathing regularly. Her heart rate is increased, but otherwise she is still alive. And as he kind of walks up behind you, he kneels down to his pack, and you see him kind of wipe off one of his hands, and then he reaches in and grabs that brick of granola and takes another bite of it. He offers it to you once more, and that's where this memory kind of snaps you back to where you are right now. And you have been kind of following the trail of this entity that has called himself Koganeru no Yakusoku for almost the entire time that you've been out of that you've been an adult. And you've gotten to the point now where your teacher trusts you to kind of follow leads on your own, while she does the same, since splitting up has covered more ground. And your travels have brought you to Shidomori Sato, where there is a story that has kind of made the rounds of different merchants of, one member of a once prominent family in the village kind of suddenly realizing that they were connected to the Miya family, which is one of the Imperial families.
Yeah.
And as a kind of coming and congratulatory event for finding this kind of lost bloodline, the gentleman in question has been offered the hand of a crane to kind of keep royalty in the family, as it were. But you've been tracing this kind of entity to this village because something doesn't sit right with you.
Okay.
But it has been a long winter court, and as it is coming to an end, and the village prepares for the wedding of Miya Hirozaki and his betrothed Doji Rurumeiji,
Okay.
there are whispers that have started to kind of gain volume in the surrounding areas. Something is that should not have been. And currently, you are a day away from Shidomori Sato, in the outskirts of its territory, in one of the farms that kind of feeds into the city itself in trade for fish and other supplies. But you are also arriving the same day that the procession from Cranelands is set to arrive. It is barely the end of what would be February, the second month, and it is still slightly cold. It is very wet. And you're further up north than you would like to be, so although snow has stopped, it is ever threatening.
Yeah.
But this is where we will pick up your actual game next week, as everybody now is in Shidomori Sato. And
Okay.
I'd like to thank my friend James for joining our game. I hope all of you watching enjoyed this little snippet into his background. Please remember to keep safe, wash your hands, wear your masks, and please keep your distance from each other. We're not out of the woods yet, and being that it has taken its toll on a few of us and that things can feel heavy at times, I'd like to remind you that it is okay to seek out help in any way, shape, or form. If you need to call friends or families, or if you yourself are a friend of somebody who has kind of disconnected from the world, like check in on them, and don't feel like getting professional help is something to be ashamed of. All of us need to find help in one way, shape, or form, and if we can't find it with our friends and family, it is, of course, asked of you to kind of seek professional help for yourself and for those around you. And with that, I want to wish you a good night. I will see you Friday for our Star Wars game, and if not, I will see you on our YouTube page where we put up our videos just in case you missed our live viewings. So please take care of each other, and I will see you when I see you.